Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to our Earth Day for Everyone celebration. Is this too loud? I can't hear. I got an echo here. Sounds good? Okay. We really appreciate everybody coming out today. We know the weather's been rather iffy, and that's why we opted for an indoor-outdoor venue. But really glad to see the crowds here today. I just want to start by saying that I'm Ann Walton from the Sierra Club, Southeast Iowa Sierra Club. And we're here today because of a partnership that was put together to present Earth Day for everyone. I especially want to thank one of our partners, Lacey Teal, who's here from the University of Iowa School of Social Work. And they have a very large presence, and they were part of the organizing team. I also want to thank the Sustainable Living Coalition, who was, again, part of the organizing team. So we really appreciate this partnership in putting together all of the events today. This is a particularly significant Earth Day because we haven't had one in several years. As you know, during the last couple of years, we took that time out to reflect on what it means to create a resilient community. And what we found is that resilience means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. We definitely defined what it means for Sierra Club, and we really look to climate and becoming more resilient to climate. We worked with the city, we worked with private sectors, we worked with other organizations. But what we have to tell you today is the last 2 years have not only been reflective, but they've been a time of different groups and individuals and the government coming together and redefining resilience and really taking incredible strides towards moving towards creating a more resilient community. We met yesterday with all the different organizations and with the city, and we shared all the work that we've been doing in building this resilient community model over the last 2 years. And it was a mind blower, that's all I can say. It was, we all felt proud to be working together. So today, we were really looking at the Earth Day for Everyone this year of being an example, and that's what we're going to share with you of all the resiliency work that's going on. And resiliency, as we said, looks like a lot of different things. For the University of Iowa, their focus is on air, water, and soil. But you'll find that the focus on resilience for different organizations takes on a different look. So we're just going to give you some snippets, some small examples of the work that's been going on that we're also proud of. So now I'm going to introduce our Mayor, Connie Boyer, and she's been a great friend in helping us move this resilience initiative forward. And the city itself and the City Council have also participated and made some great strides that we're really proud to have worked together with them on. So, Connie, thank you.
Thanks for everybody coming today and participating. It's great to see so many people out, and it's great to see such an active Earth Day and so many vendors. I just want to say very quickly that as far as resiliency goes, when the rubber hits the road, it's our local community that's really going to support each other, and that is so much about what Ann and Sierra Club and some of these other groups are doing, is really supporting our local hometown. And also taking the initiative to do things, not waiting for the federal government or the state government to come in and save us. So I applaud everybody who's putting those volunteers together and the action that you're taking. From the city side, I just want to talk about one project that we just have initiated, and that is a little over a week ago. We have put in a grant for 2 solar projects. One on the Park and Rec Cambridge building, and one for our new fire station. This is about a $774,000 project, of which the city will put in $155,000. And if we get the grant and can get this up and going, it will will cover about 45% of the city's current electrical usage, annual usage. We're totally excited about this, and so anyway, everybody just keep your positive thoughts that we get that grant. Thank you.
So I would like to introduce Cassandra Sonne. She's the program manager for energy at the University of Northern Iowa. And she's also the Resilient Iowa Communities project manager. And she'll talk about Fairfield becoming one of the first pilot projects for this new statewide initiative. So, Cassandra?
Hi everyone, it's really wonderful to be here. I'm so excited to learn about all the things that Fairfield's been doing for sustainability. I was able to go to the climate resiliency, or not just climate, but the resiliency meeting yesterday, and just my mind was blown by all these things that Fairfield is doing. You know, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different Iowa cities. I'm from California, and it's still blowing my mind, you know. I was from a 4,000 person town in a place we consider pretty progressive, but I think Fairfield has beat my California town, so that's saying a lot. Yeah, so I did a little bit of research about Iowa's environmental history because I didn't know. I found a couple really interesting things, both about the past and the present, and then we'll look towards the future. So the first thing I learned is that back in 1888, John Lacey was elected to represent Iowa in the U.S. House of Representatives, and he was on the Committee of Public Lands, which is now called the Natural Resources Committee. What he's known for is two things. One is called the Lacey Act, which is how you know it's really important. It's named after him. And basically this law prohibits trade in wildlife, fish, and plants that have been illegally taken, transported, or sold. And that was a landmark piece of legislation. It's been used up until today, and in terms of, I've always had a passion for wildlife conservation, so I thank John Lacey for that a lot in terms of Iowa's impact on the environmental landscape. I also thought it was interesting that he helped pen the Antiquities Act of 1906, and that gives the president the capability to protect significant natural, cultural, or scientific features by creating national monuments. So it's not quite the same as a national park, but it's still been used 116 times since it was put into place to protect natural resources across the United States. So the United States landscape would look very different today had it not been for Lacey's work, and I think that's a great way to look into the past and then look into the future. I found out that as of August 3rd, 2021, 57.6% of Iowa's energy came from renewable sources, and no other state has hit that 50% mark. Further, as of 2019, wind energy generated more electricity from Iowa than coal-fired power plants. And just to put in context how impressive that is in a short period of time, in 2014, coal-fired power plants provided 53% of Iowa's energy. So that's, now it's all the way down to 24%. So that is a massive shift towards renewable energy. So 98% of Iowa's current renewable energy comes from wind, but we all know that solar has a ton of potential in Iowa and is kind of the a nice partner to wind energy. They support each other well in terms of load, and you know, on windy days it might not be as sunny, and on sunny days it might not be as windy, unless it's today. So they partner really well, and I think we're going to see a lot more solar projects around the state, and Fairfield is really a leader in that. It has one of America's largest concentration of solar homes. That's the entire country that Fairfield boasts. And it's also the 5th largest market for organic food in America. So there's a lot to be proud of here. Fairfield set a lot of goals in their Go Green plan, and I really feel like they boast an impressive array of sustainability goals and really have set themselves up to be one of Iowa's environmental leaders, and of course across the nation, frankly, as an environmental leader, especially for small communities and what can get done, because a lot of time people think of sustainability as something the big cities get to take care of, and you know, little cities get left behind, but Fairfield shows that's really not the case at all, and in fact these small towns can be the leaders and really show that that perception isn't necessarily true. So this dedication to sustainability is why I am very happy to announce that Fairfield has been selected as a pilot city for the Resilient Iowa Communities Project, which is a new statewide program. It's a new statewide program focused on promoting sustainability for a better quality of life for all Iowans. It's based out of the Center for Energy and Environmental Education, which is where I work as the program manager for energy at the University of Northern Iowa. And it will provide guidance and resources for Fairfield as it positions itself as a model for sustainability in Iowa. So there's 30 total best practices in 5 categories. Those are buildings and energy, land use, transportation, environmental management, and community and economic development. And each section has 6 different options, and essentially each city picks a couple of best practices that they want to focus on based on their needs and what's most important to them. I always say that this program really combines guidance with flexibility. You don't want to come in and be like, top down, this is what I'm going to tell you to do because I know more because I'm from a fancy university. Nor do you want to kind of give no guidance whatsoever and basically be like, struggle on your own. And so this program really tries to bring those together. A copy of the best practices is available at the Sierra Club table. There's only one. I think there's more than one of you, but you can have a look at those afterwards. And if you ever want to email me, I think Anne has my email, and I'm happy to send you any documents. Fairfield was actually the first pilot city to join this program in all of Iowa. We have 5 pilot cities, so it's Fairfield, Decorah, Johnson, Independence, and Mount Vernon. But Fairfield was the very first to sign on. It will gain access to peer-to-peer learning, connection with environmental groups across Iowa, including support from the University of Northern Iowa, where we have programs like Green Iowa AmeriCorps, which I think there's some interest in getting a Green Iowa AmeriCorps program going here. Apparently they used to be here, but the energy and community team does energy audits, and basically everyone in Fairfield was so progressive in their energy audits that there's not much left to improve. So, because I was like, oh, why does Fairfield stop being a host site? And there's like, yeah, basically they were too good at what they're doing. I'm like, okay. But hopefully in terms of land and water stewards and sustainable schools members, we can still provide helpful resources. I'm so excited to support Fairfield as a program manager for this program, and I'm really grateful and just astounded to have the opportunity to learn about the sustainability efforts already going on in Fairfield. It's incredibly impressive, and I look forward to hearing all of your voices. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie, and of course we're really proud to be the first pilot project for the Resilient Iowa Communities program. The next person I'd like to call up is our good friend Doug Flournoy, who sits on the Fairfield City Council. And he's been very instrumental in helping us to navigate the City Council, but also to identify some initial funding for a sustainability coordinator for Fairfield. And so he's going to talk a little bit about where we are as part of the hiring team on that. So thanks, Doug.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Appreciate that. I want to tell you a little story about how government works. I think, one way government works. Is Marg here? Marg Dwyer? Not in this room. I know she's here, but I know Marg from working on school board for many years, and she called me up one day and said, can we meet? I said, sure. And she brought Ann, I think that's the first day I met you, right? She brought Ann with her, and we had a meeting about what the Sierra Club wanted to do for the city of Fairfield. And so I told him, you know, how you might approach this whole question about getting the city on board in regard to funding a sustainability coordinator and getting things moving. I think we were the first ones to commit, but I'm not certain about that. But they went through, the Sierra Club, went through our master plan, our Fairfield Forever plan, and pulled out every single item, you know, goal and action item that was in that plan, which is quite lengthy. Put that together into their plan that they wanted to adopt. And they brought that to City Council and said, you know, we want to do this. And I'm going, well, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's take that and run with it, because who's going to do it if our citizens don't help us out? Council can't do it by itself. And I was able to track down some funding through our waste management. And did you know that you can call the auditor's office and they'll contact you back? With answers to questions, and they will even go through your ordinances and see what's allowed and what's not allowed. So we have, when you pay your water bill, attached to that bill is a recycling charge, garbage pickup, some taxes. Well, that money goes into the solid waste management, solid waste fund. And that fund used to be in the red, but now it's in the black to the tune of about $200,000. So, but it's tagged. You can't just do anything you want with it. It has to be applied to solid waste issues. So I asked the auditor, well, can we use this money to fund a sustainability coordinator and move this project forward? And they said, yes, if you have your sustainability coordinator do certain functions that align with the purpose of that fund. And so that is how we got the Fairfield involved in the funding of the sustainability coordinator, and that was $15,000 the first year. And then they continued to do fundraising, amazing job of doing fundraising, came back and asked for some more money. And we're not quite on the tab for the full 3 years, but we're committed into years 2 and 3, and I'm certain the council will move that forward to the full 3 years of funding before we're done. The money's there and it can't be used for much else. So it's a good purpose. It serves the citizens of Fairfield. That plan that we're talking about here, that the Fairfield Forever plan, was put together by contributions by citizens. They came to meetings and told us what they wanted to see in the plan. So when we spend money on this position and on these goals and action items, we are doing what the citizens have asked us to do. And it's a good use of your taxpayer money. So thank you for that. And hopefully this will be a great thing to go down the road quite a long ways. Oh, I should tell you what we're doing recently, right? So we've interviewed what? How many people have we interviewed? 6 or 8 already? We have quite
24 applicants
yeah,
in total.
enormous amount of interest in this position, and so we have a couple interviews coming up next week, and some a little bit further down the road. So, and we're going to have a good applicant here that we can offer the position to. I think sometime in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I'm hopeful, and have them on board, maybe this summer or next fall, and get things moving. So, thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug, and thanks to the Fairfield City Council, to all of the members, and to the mayor, because they're the ones who are helping to make this possible. A little further note on the sustainability coordinator that's pretty significant. We, Sierra Club Board, spent the last 6 to 9 months raising $227,000 to support the sustainability coordinator for 3 years, and we have over 54 donors from the community. I have to say MIU and City Council were the ones who got us kick-started on this effort by both throwing in $15,000 to begin with. I think the really unique thing about this is that it's not just the city, we wish it was, who had on staff a sustainability coordinator, but the way that it's evolved is that this is really the community's sustainability coordinator. And we think we'll be all that much stronger and come out with a better new plan because of that. So thanks to everybody from the community that's donated to that effort. And the hiring committee is working really hard to serve you well by trying to pick the perfect candidate. So we're just so super excited. We hoped we could announce the new sustainability coordinator, but we felt like it was better not to rush it and to get the right person. So the next person I want to introduce is Steve Taylor, and we're very honored, of course, to have him on the Sierra Club board. He doesn't just sit on the Sierra Club board, he's involved in a lot of other different types of committees and organizations here in Fairfield, but he's going to tell you about the new resilience initiative to address wildlands and make sure that they stay that way, both the city and the county. So Steve, thank you.
So, as Ann was saying, Fairfield is very blessed in that we have, for a town this size, quite a lot of areas that are, in a wilderness situation. So there's Lamson Woods, there's Jefferson County Park, there's the Loop Trail, which is, very, very popular. I think everyone here has been on the Loop Trail, right? So when I started to work on these areas, first I was approached by Michael Halley, who said, you need to be on the Arbor Committee. So I said, okay. And then Connie also allowed me to be on that, and I've been very pleased with how that's been going. We've been working primarily on Lamson Woods, which as a preserve was kind of taken to a little bit of an extreme degree, in the sense that they meant that nothing was going on there at all in terms of, you know, helping it along. And so when we actually looked at that preserve area, we found that oaks were not regenerating. So in order for that to happen, we needed to create a little bit more sunshine. So first that was done in that area was a shelter wood harvest, and that means that you just take out certain trees so that you can open up the canopy a little bit for the next generation of oaks to come. And that's very important, because of all the trees and plants that we have in our area, oaks are the, what you could say, the number one keystone species. They support more insects, which support more birds, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like the cornerstone, or the main part of the ecosystem. So anyway, that was one of the things. And then we also continue to work on planting more trees along the loop trail. Some of those areas are still out in blazing sun, and you know, planting some more trees there. We did in the fall. And then in addition to that, now we're focusing on the Nadi Committee as well, which is a prairie just north of town. This is a restored prairie, but there's also some remnant prairie that is near there as well. And we want to make sure that it, you know, remains prairie. So that means that we're trying to keep certain invasive plants from taking over. So you may have noticed there's some prairie burns and so forth, which we'll be doing and have already taken place in those areas, and those are going to help regenerate the forest, or the prairie there. Anyway, this has been an ongoing effort, certainly not just all my doing. It's all part of the larger community, as people were saying, and I certainly couldn't have, you know, I just offer a little bit here and there what to do, and then a lot of other people are doing the work. So I just want to make sure that that is understood. Anyway, yes?
There are a bunch of one-way doors they intend to keep here, off of the highway. If they happen to get in, they can go out, but they can't come in those doors. Some of those are stuck, they're going to be
Okay, well, we'll have to talk about that afterwards. I'm not aware of this, but that can be addressed. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks so much, Steve. And in case you haven't gathered, he's an amazing horticulturist, and so we're really pleased to have him. The next person I would like to introduce is Tom Brooks. He's the MIU Vice President of Operations, and we say he's the President of Sustainability as far as we're concerned. He's going to talk about the university's commitment to sustainability. Looking forward, they're now about to have their 50th Jubilee celebration, and we're looking forward to what the next 50 years are going to bring in terms of building resilience and sustainability. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ann. Steve Taylor and I started out together at the East Lansing TM Center 50 years ago or so. Steve and I both went to school at Michigan State, and now we're both here in Fairfield, Iowa somehow. I don't know how that all worked out, but the first thing is an announcement this morning, thanks to Lacey Teal, putting together some volunteers. The university hosted a tree maintenance community service activity this morning. We had about 7 or 8 volunteers, and we managed to mulch about 80 trees that we've planted about 600 trees over the last 6 years. So it was great to refresh the mulch, and we appreciate Lacey giving us those volunteers. As Ann said, MIU is 1 week away from celebrating its 50th golden anniversary. Right from the very beginning in 1971, the founding of the university, we had a founding goal to maximize the intelligent use of the environment. It was one of our 8 founding goals. And so we've tried to live up to that, and our university president, Dr. Hagelin, has signed now a climate commitment signed by college and university presidents around the United States to take the university to carbon neutrality by 2030, as many businesses and universities are doing. So, two parts to that carbon neutrality, I would say, main parts. One is the electricity. We're doing pretty well on that. We have a 1.1 megawatt solar array with 4 or 5 other solar arrays around campus. And we're doing, depending on how you calculate, our energy from Alliant Energy, which is becoming more and more green also, we're at 45 or 50% of our energy is sustainable energy at this point. But certainly as we go ahead, our main goal is to complete that and add more solar. And if Mark Stimson has anything to do with it, probably wind as well. But what that leaves us then is we're behind on the other half of the carbon, which is how we heat our buildings. And Mark and I have been having, discussions about that. And that, once we finish COVID, once we finish the Golden Jubilee celebration, that's where I would like to start putting my attention, is figuring out how we're going to convert buildings that are heated by fossil fuels, fossil gases, to some kind of sustainable heating system. We also need to keep our continued focus on recycling across campus. We have, single stream recycling like the city, but we have a lot of work to do in terms of education and purifying that waste stream and getting it sorted out. And Mark and I have been dealing with that for years also. TerraCycle, you'll hear about in a little bit. We also want to expand that in the coming years. I have personally taken on a project with our food service that feeds about 1,000 people, 3 meals a day. I want to take that food service to a zero waste sort of project. We're going through one by one things that we buy that end up in the dumpsters and trying to find workable solutions so that we can eliminate that waste and have a zero waste food service. But perhaps the most exciting thing that we're doing is a week from Tuesday, we are breaking ground for the rebuilding of our 200-unit mobile home park, Utopia Park. And this is the beginning of a project taken on by Dr. Howard Settle. And his vision is that he would like to create as many as 500 condo units around the campus to increase the population as we're growing. And so we're very concerned about how, if we're going to be carbon neutral, those buildings have to start carbon neutral. We can't be running behind all the time trying to figure out how you're going to retrofit some, sustainability. So what we're going to build starting in a week is that there'll be 2 3-plex units, 6 condos. They are going to be super insulated with super windows, super insulation, and efficient enough that we aren't even going to hook up natural gas to the buildings. The heating will be done by very efficient heat pumps, and then the electricity, as we can, will be added to our array and connected through the array to the university's electric grid and right into those homes. So we at least have the framework in place so that this major development at least can be carbon neutral going forward. So thank you all very much, and thank Ann and the Sierra Club for all they're doing. We're all very impressed, and the university is very honored to be hopefully a full and working partner as we go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and we're looking forward to the next 50 years of what MIU will bring to the community. Finally, I'd like to introduce Tiffany Raines. She's the owner of Wild Spirits Permaculture Nursery, and she'll speak on a brand new initiative that is really exciting for all of us, especially Sustainable Living Coalition, about the Fairfield Home Garden Initiative. So thank you, Tiffany. Hi,
My name's Tiffany April Rains, Wild Spirits Farm. I run a little plant nursery specializing in organically grown vegetable and herb starts for our Fairfield community. I have been an avid gardener since probably 2010 in town. I've built big, beautiful garden plots all over town, but around 2018 I realized my true love is in growing the plants and sharing them with people. That brings me the most joy. It was in 2020, though, that I really began to integrate with our community in a new, deep way when the COVID lockdowns started. And we were all sitting around in the spring wondering what's going on, what's going to happen with the food supply chain, and my phone started ringing off the hook. People needing tons of plants and compost and advice, and it was a whole new level of momentum and need that was previously unprecedented, at least to me. So I spent that spring driving around town, bringing people curbside deliveries of plants and compost, and from 20 feet away, really got to understand what this community needs in terms of food security. And it was the first time that it became apparent to me that there are many people that are not just growing food for the fun of it, for the flavor of it, but out of true economic necessity to feed themselves and their families. So late last summer, early fall, I met with several people in the community that are very sustainably minded, and we had a meeting about kind of this exact issue. What are we going to do to help support people that are struggling to feed themselves? How can we support sustainability and independence in this way? And with our team putting our heads together, the concept of the Fairfield Garden Initiative was born. So we applied for a grant, the Community Development Block Grant, which was awarded, which is going to allow us to have the funding to supply 6,000 big, beautiful, healthy, organically grown garden plants to people who need them, 12 educational workshops, ranging from how to prepare your garden bed, how to amend it, how to deal with pest control, how to harvest, what to do with those harvests once you have them. And we're also going to offer a tool lending library. We discovered that there are many people that the main barrier they have to creating a simple garden is tools that I know myself take for granted. A shovel. It's amazing how many people can't even afford that when times get really tough. So this is a really beautiful project. I'm really excited to be a part of it. I am, of course, going to be growing the plants through 2022 and 2023. Faith Reeves, who's an incredible soil scientist and educator, is going to be doing the workshops. Barb Siren with Back to the Basics Farm is going to be the coordinator, interfacing with everybody to make sure they get what they need. Bob Ferguson, who's the master networker of Fairfield, is going to be here by our side doing everything he can, and we're really looking forward to being of service. We're going to be giving a more extensive speech with a presentation up here and everything from 1:30 to 1:50. The whole team will be up here if you want to learn more. And if you want to sign up or get additional information, you can go to gardenfairfield.com. And you'll find more information there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiffany, and we're looking forward to watching this new program unfold and address issues of food security here in Fairfield, which is a very critical issue when it comes to building resilience. So finally, I'm so happy to introduce Stuart Valentine. You all know him from the many different hats that he wears, but today he's wearing the TerraCycle hat, is that right? And he has an award to present, so thanks, Stuart.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Anne. Yes, today I wear the TerraCycle Fairfield hat. And I want to thank all of you who have been using the TerraCycle bins at the entry of everybody's or at the library, or now that MIU has them in the basement. Fairfield High School now has bins, and Maharishi School. And not least of which, now Cindy's Art Shop has a place where you can drop off old pens and markers and art supplies that all channel back into sponsors of recycling programs run through the TerraCycle, the company TerraCycle. And as many of you know, I starting in year 2000, have built an investment practice focused on socially responsible investing and really focused on this growing green economy. And one of the key principles of socially responsible investing is to invest in your own backyard. And Fairfield is just a wonderful example. I work with clients all over the country, and I have to say I'm very proud of Fairfield. There's something about our willingness to engage that is unique, and we should not take that for granted and do more of it. And one of the key reasons for that is leadership from members in the community, and principally, you know, the work that MIU has done in leading in environmental education. I learned yesterday that the 4-year degree program in sustainable living was the first in the country. And people like Tom and Mark back there and countless of us have been involved in just building the momentum for the leadership that the university is providing us today. So if any of you were at Howard Park last year, we presented our first annual TerraCycle Fairfield Champion Award to Everybody's Whole Foods, who took us on to sponsor and manage the collection bins at Everybody's. So today, I'm just delighted to announce the second TerraCycle Fairfield Champion Award to Maharishi International University. And I'd like to have Tom come up to receive the award. Tom has spent at least 10 lifetimes invested in making Fairfield a greener place. There's nobody better to receive this award than Tom Brooks. So thank you, Tom, for your leadership, and we look forward to many more TerraCycle bins in the MIU.
That's my goal.
That's our goal. There you go. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Stuart, and thank you, Tom, for a well-deserved award. And as you can see, we're all very proud of the progress that Fairfield's been making, and there's no better day to celebrate it than Earth Day. And we'd like to say that actually every day should be Earth Day, that we continue to work on resilience. It's in our thinking and all the actions that we do. I just want to, again, thank all of our sponsors. There are way too many to mention for putting on this Earth Day event. You can see many of them out here in this building and also in the activity center. I just want to remind you from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock, we're only a little behind schedule. There'll be talks all afternoon, 20-minute talks on how resiliency is taking place in our community. There's, of course, all of the information booths that are out here will be set up until 4 o'clock. And don't forget to support our food vendors. There's another building, 2 buildings over, that we also have the whole building. It's called the Learning Center. And in there we have interactive learning activities for people of all ages, children and adults. We have live music going on there all afternoon. So please take advantage of the day. It's a little windy, but that's why we're inside today. But we're so happy to see so many people out for Earth Day. We appreciate you being here and thinking about Earth Day on this day. So thanks so much.